Hello and welcome back to FrogboyX1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today we are doing another misinformation video about VRR and LFC on the Xbox Series consoles. Well, at least that's what they tell me in the comments. So, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started with this. Now, I have spent the last 2 days now testing out games and doing everything that I can, reading a bunch of information about it, trying to figure out exactly what this is all about. Because if you remember back when Flight Simulator came out, they were telling you that there was 120 hertz mode in this game. And, I'd tried it before, didn't really notice any difference. I was playing around with it, but since I got this monitor has a way wider range of VRR support, seeing as my TV caps out at about 40 frames a second, which is 10 seconds. Technically, it's 10 frames a second higher than on my monitor and the Xbox itself. The Xbox can drop all the way down to 30, go all the way up. So just basically that full spectrum. And what we're talking about is hertz. Not FPS, we're talking about hertz, the screen refresh rate. That's the screen refresh rate. 60 hertz equals 60 FPS. 120 hertz equals 120 FPS. You get where I'm going with this. Well, the Xbox Series X and S can go from 30 hertz all the way up to 120 hertz. My TV does 40 hertz all the way up, and my monitor is closer to the range of where the Xbox Series X and S are. So you're probably wondering, why does that matter? Well, if you go back to last generation, there's a lot of games that are 30 frames a second. They're capped, and on the Xbox Series X and S, it is a locked 30 frames a second. So if you have your Xbox Series X or S in 120 hertz mode, 120 frame FPS mode, effectively those games will benefit by being able to essentially produce 120. Well, your Xbox will present that to your screen as 120 hertz. So effectively doubling not the frame rate. It doesn't do anything for your frame rate. I need to make that clear right now. This does not do anything for your frame rate whatsoever. Just because on your little screen counter it says 120 FPS, that does not mean that your game is running at 120 frames a second. What that means is it's getting that signal and it is refreshing at that rate. So therefore creating duplicate frames on your 30 frames per second games, making them appear to run smoother. Now, if you're older or you've noticed this, when you are playing a 30 frames per second game, it looks flickery. It looks flickery. When you pan the camera, it looks flickery. It looks like it's blinking on and off like really, really fast. And it kind of creates a judder. Like I noticed it, and this is something that's been like, oh man, that's why I've been so upset with Sony. Like, why are we sticking to 30 frames a second? Well, it's what the 120 hertz mode with the VRR refresh rate and the LFC tend to do is smooth that out, so it no longer appears as juddery. I mean, it's you can tell it's still 30 frames a second. It still moves at 30 frames a second, but there is a secret. It's not even a secret feature. They told us about this. There is an adaptive input latency in your controller for the Xbox consoles that kind of predicts which way you're going to move them to reduce latency. Like that, with that in tandem with the LFC and the VRR at 120 hertz, it makes those feel a little bit smoother. Now, I'm not talking like, oh my gosh, it's all of a sudden 60 FPS. In my testing now, over a lot of games, I can confirm that now the 30 frames a second games, they're not juddery. They don't feel juddery. They don't look juddery. And the latency feels a little bit better. It still feels like you would be in the 30 frames a second, but now your screen is Your screen is clear, giving you a little bit more time to react, to kind of see things a little bit better. It's not so jittery. It's not it, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's magically giving you new FPS. No, no. But what it is doing is it's smoothing things out a little bit. Now, why does that matter? Because I have a lot of 30 FPS games that I still like to play every once in a while, so that matters. That kind of matters. So the biggest ultimate difference that I have seen is in racing games. Like, those are amazing. So take a game like Forza 7. Now that runs at 60 frames a second, but if paired with my monitor with 120 hertz mode, it brings out a little bit more detail because the screen is even smoother. And now it kind of gives you a little bit more time to like see what's going on. It brings out a little bit more detail, a little bit more fine detail, stuff like that. It's just weird things that I've noticed, like TT Isle of Man, the original one, freaking feels super smooth now, but the controls still feel 30 FPS, so it still corners like a cow. TT Isle of Man 2, freaking phenomenal. Feels literally amazing. It literally looks like I'm playing it on my PC with 60 FPS controls. I mean, it still feels pretty decent. So these are some of the things that I've noticed while playing around with this. Now, the PlayStation will probably never be able to have this feature, seeing as the VRR range on the PlayStation 5 is just it's just not wide enough. Like anything down to 30 frames a second, you're not going to really notice a difference in it because it's just it's the way it's built. And with all these companies having to build 100 VRR support into these games, it's going to affect the overall performance of that. Maybe create a little bit more latency. It's just not going to be as system-wide as the Xbox system is. And it's like little things like this that are tucked away into like the console, the Series X, provides a benefit that you didn't even know you needed at all. Like, you didn't even know you needed this. And setting this in 120 hertz mode and playing everything on it, like, yeah, it's seamless. It just does it for you. If your screen supports that range. Like, if you get a screen that's like 48 to 120, it's probably not going to work that good. But, and see, that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to do with this, and explain to people how this works and what actual tangible benefits, aside from, just because your TV has a screen counter on it doesn't mean doesn't mean it's giving you that many frames. Now, yesterday, when I started doing like the little, Elden Ring videos running at 120 and all of those, I was literally in the process of making a video like how to become a YouTube analyst. I was gonna show you like my TV with the little screen counter on there and be like, oh, you need a TV and you need a PlayStation and an Xbox, and then you need like a camera and just all kinds of stuff. And I was it was gonna be a satire thing, kind of like funny clickbait or whatever. I told you guys, I told you guys that, like more stuff was going to be coming to this channel, but then I started digging deeper into this LFC thing, and I started figuring things out, and I started doing a lot of testing, and I started seeing a lot of results that are beneficial to us older gamers. Like, us older gamers can really benefit from the less judder while we're playing our 30 frames a second games, and still be able to enjoy those games without getting a headache, without feeling like, oh man, this is just too much on my eyes, because it does. Like 60 FPS, it just feels so much better now. 120 FPS feels a lot better. And I mean, as you can see, I clearly got a PC now. So, I mean, I can tell the difference, what like 100 frames a second feels like compared to 60 frames a second and 30 frames a second. And there's people out there that are still like, oh man, the human eye can't really tell. I mean, yeah, it can, man. You can definitely tell a difference between 30, 60, 100, 120, 165. Like, you can tell a difference. Once you start getting up there into the upper bounds, then the perceivable difference gets a little bit harder. But anything up to 120 frames a second, like, your eyes can perceive that. You can feel that. You can see that. It adds to the immersion. It feels better. It looks better. It's it's way more comfortable to consume that media at better frame rates. It does feel better. It does look better. So I just wanted to set some things straight because I don't really need everybody out there running around. I mean, I already got, King Thrash and his little buddies in my comment section, telling me I'm lying to people and stuff. So I need to set things straight because, I have been using a few clickbait titles, and that's simply to get you to watch, because a lot of people don't really know what LFC LFC is, nor are they even aware that their Xbox Series X is capable of this. So it's one of those things that if I get people to at least click on it and watch, and if they stay long enough to kind of listen to what I'm talking about, it'll plant that seed, so they'll do their own, just like I did. You'll do your own due diligence. You'll do your own you'll do your own experimenting. You'll know that, hey man, the feature works, and then you'll kind of know what kind of screen to use. Now, it's been working perfectly with my LG, so I will link that in the description so that you can check that out and maybe find, one cheaper or another brand or whatever you want to do. I mean, these monitors are awesome. I bought 2 of them. I really love them. So it's really cool to be able to like learn about this technology, and that's what we do here on this channel, man. I like to learn about this stuff. I like to put it through its paces. I like to test it out. I like to give my own freaking feeling for things, and then bring you the good news, man, because that's all I've ever tried to do on this channel. I've never tried to mislead you or deceive you or any kind of like overhype you for anything on this channel. So if you've been here long enough, and understand that. If you're new to the channel, dude, this is just another one of the learning curves of Frogboy X1 Gaming, man. We are 6 months ago. I didn't know anything about. PC wasn't like a main thing. Now it is. It's been incorporated into my gaming stuff, and I'm actively trying to learn and bring you the best information I can, because I got sick and tired of all the clickbait and all the garbage on YouTube, all the overhype and underdeliver that I used to get when I was on there. So I don't try to do that to you in my community. I try to be as honest and upfront and as cool about things as I can, because there's plenty of that out there, man. If you want to be hyped and let down relentlessly, then eventually you're going to find my channel, and eventually you're going to understand better what we do here and what I try to do here. So with that, LFC and VRR on the Xbox are pretty freaking nice. It does help. You can still kind of feel like, you can tell that the game is 30 frames a second. Like nothing, like it's more like this whole PlayStation 5 right here is built on Sony Magic, man. The whole thing is built on Sony Magic. And deceit and like getting you to believe your console can do things that it never could. My PC will eat that checkerboard machine, and like everybody's still like super hyped about this PlayStation 5, and I'm like, dude, the Xbox has got better features actually baked into it since day one. People are like, no, it's okay, man. My checkerboard box is gonna be great, and I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Yeah, cool. If you'll believe in that magic, then at least let me show you what your Xbox can do and give you the facts about that, so that you can use some Xbox magic to enhance your gaming experience. That's all we're doing here. We're not trying to mislead you and tell you that Elden Ring is magically 120 frames a second, or Red Dead Redemption 2 runs at 120 frames a second on your Xbox. No, it does look smoother though with all that turned on. I can tell you that it does look smoother, and then when you put it on your Dolby Vision screen, you do get Dolby Vision on there. The metadata is used and it kicks out a Dolby Vision image, and it's pretty cool. It looks pretty nice. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're new here, man, I'm sorry that you showed up at this time. Just stick around. Well, you'll see. This is not a bad place to be. We're actually all gamers, and we all game, and the community is a big part of this channel. So like I said, I'll have links in the description for the monitor, and NEBA for games, stuff like that. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.